rad, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have some kick butt pictures in this calendar, dude. That's gonna be sick. I'm so pumped.
Me too.
Hi, my name is Sean Silva, and I'm here to talk about my build, and I hope you enjoy my story. This meant a lot to me, and I appreciate Belltech, and I appreciate the opportunity to share my story for the 40th anniversary. You know, where my story kind of took a turn is, I get a little emotional. I had a headache for a couple days, but I always get headaches. And I was actually getting ready to go out of town to go to Laguna Seca. And on our way to Laguna Seca, I started just having some real funky symptoms that were pretty concerning. You know, luckily I have family. My dad lives in the coastal area of Monterey, so I was able to go to Monterey Peninsula Hospital. And what we thought was a hardcore migraine ended up being a brain bleed. So instantly my life kind of, you know, changed at that moment. And I feel really blessed. So I feel really blessed that I got the care that I got, and I ended up going to Stanford and having a awake craniotomy. I don't know if you can see it in video, but you know, an awake craniotomy. So I had to be awake during the procedure. The whole time I'm talking mostly about cars, which is pretty funny. So my surgeon actually was the coolest dude. But during surgery, I actually mentioned, you know, I'd asked him, "Hey, Dr. Steinberg, you know." Actually, I said Gary. They thought it was funny because I used his first name. I said, "Hey, Gary, like, you ever have any problems with that Porsche?" And then he went on this whole story, asking this doctor this story about his car while I'm in the middle of having this brain procedure, which I don't know is going to change me. I don't know if I'm going to be the same after it. You know, I just am praying for that, you know. So besides the love of you know, my God, my family, and my friends around me, like, you know, the hobby is a passion of mine that really, like, I go to for comfort. Like, you know, I might be a little loud and I might be a little boisterous sometimes, but it's just because I have, you know, a passion for certain things. And I think that's good. I think having a passion and having something that's an outlet is important. So this build was an outlet for me. So I came home, I was off from school for about 2.5 months. I started buying parts for the hardbody. And one of the first things that I ended up buying was an exhaust. And I couldn't get the chrome one that I wanted, but the titanium one was available, and I had an epiphany moment. Well, dude, I have titanium mesh in my head from the surgery. I'm like, that's kind of a cool story. I'm like, I'm gonna rock the titanium. And then from that, just little snips of ideas came, you know, here and there, that I just like the idea of a story. Started thinking about different ways I could use titanium, not cheesy, not in a way that would be flashy. I shared in my story when I submitted it that, like, this was important because I needed to, like, I think if you're someone who ever has, like, surgery that intense and, you know, they're in there messing with your brain, I think that's the hardest thing, is you second guess yourself a lot. You compare yourself, like, did I do that before? Did I do that? Do I still do that now? You know, is it still me? Have I always done those things? Of course, the people around you are going to tell you you've always done those things, but you need to prove it to yourself. The build was really just like therapy for me. Like, I needed to prove that, like, I could do something the way I wanted to do it in Sean Silva's way, and I could be happy about it and proud about it, and I could be happy with the end result. I also collect die cast, so that's also was part of the story in my build. So I collect a lot of die cast along with my son. I have a friend who, you know, we've become, you know, kind of chummy the last couple of years. June Amai, who used to work for Mattel for Hot Wheels as a designer. Now he has his own company, Kaito House. Kind of knew I wanted to pay homage to him a little bit. Had a little horn button he gave me, you know, with his brand on it, and I put it on my steering wheel. And then I, you know, thought about that green, that special Kaito House kind of green that's on his actual 510 wagon. I respect his build, so I wanted a part of his build in my build. I thought, wow, man, you know, I need to do something to pop in my engine bay. So just that turned into, oh, let me use some of that green in the engine bay, but let me ask June if that's cool, like if he can give me permission to do that. And he actually offered me the leftover paint from when he shot his wagon like 10 years ago, which I thought was beyond cool. After my surgery, going back to work, this is October of 21, the following weekend, or that coming weekend, was the Japanese Classic Car Show. So I went to JCCS with my buddy Anthony. So because of June from Kaito House, he hooked up me and Anthony with VIP passes, and we were able to get in early and kind of hang out for a little while before the crowds came in. So that was really, really cool for me. So I got to meet a lot of people. So I decided for JCCS, I'm gonna bring my glove box cover. Not the actual glove box for my hardbody, but just the little trim part that you can unscrew. And I thought, how cool would it be to have those guys with those Datsun Nissan vibes that I respect sign my glove box? So I brought that with me. It was the coolest thing about JCCS for me that year, because I talked to Sung Kang for a little while and he signed it. I talked to Daniel Wu and saw his build with his Honda. He signed it. I'm always looking for John Morton. I super respect him and I've seen him several times. So I had John sign it. And then there were other people in the Datsun community, Randy Jaffe, Kenny, who is the steward of K's 240Z here in the United States. He has it now. Rob Fuller from Z Car Garage. My buddy June, of course. I thought it was so cool, right? So I thought, well, man, you know what? I can do this. I want to try and build my truck for JCCS. Kind of going back to the interior, I was talking to, checking out Daniel Wu's Honda, and he really took in these like Porsche inspired vibes. I kind of dug that. I'm like, it doesn't matter really what kind of car you're building. You can take different ideas from other cars that are other manufacturers and styles, from just other cars. So on the interior, I wanted it to be kind of Porsche, maybe inspired a little bit with the houndstooth, kind of modern. I had this idea of wrapping it in carbon fibered vinyl, but that wasn't going to work. So I got a cover lay dash cap. I had it hydro dipped in like a carbon fiber pattern, but it came out pretty good. So another part of the story for my build is the bike that's in the back. So why am I rocking this bike? There's something about BMX bikes and mini trucks. They just kind of go hand in hand. I have this bike from when I was 12 years old. Like I kept it. My mom kept it. I have my bike, my old Dyno GT, Medano Comp, and I thought, how darn cool would that be to have that in the back? And that could be another part of the story if I get into JCCS. Ultimately, that was my goal, to get into this car show. I polished my bike up because put new wheels and tires. I tried to kind of match up the livery of the truck and the color scheme. Ended up putting that in the back of the bed. I had also the gentleman at Road Fab who made the spoiler at the back. He also did these legit brackets to hold the bike down, mounting brackets. He machined them in plasma cut, and the dyno logo is on the side. And then my buddy Gibson painted it for me to match the trucks. And I didn't know if I was going to accept it or not. They don't totally pick everybody. They let my truck come in. Super pumped. I was on cloud 9. It was the coolest experience to have my son there, to have one of my best friends with me, and to finish something that crazy time in my life where I didn't really know what was going to happen. My dad kind of got me into the industry. My dad is a school teacher like I am, but he always had a love for cars. So growing up, we'd always go to car lots on the weekends, and we'd always check out the newest cars. I had a subscription to Auto Week when I was a kid, junior high, so just from a young age. And then my dad was actually a Mopar guy. He kind of turned into buying imports. He started buying our first import, I think in 90, bought a Maxima. That just kind of turned my brother and I into the import scene a little bit. So my first real car, I say real car because it actually ran well, was a 92 Sentra. And then my brother also had a 92 Sentra and SCR. And then one of the first things we did was we lowered both our vehicles. Actually, I cut my springs at first and then it was pretty crappy. So I did it the right way and I bought ST springs, sway bars, and that was kind of my first real project. As I got older, I used to autocross for the SCCA. I had a Subaru Impreza. I had another Nissan, another NX 2000, a little hatchback that I autocrossed, also with ST goodies on it. A Mitsubishi Eclipse, that was my first car that I got to finance. That was a big deal. And I went like full bore. Started autocrossing that one like crazy, and I just loved it. I bought a S13 240SX that I started to make into a track car right when my wife and I got married, actually. Yeah, I'm lucky because my wife and I have been together for 17 years. One of my best friends, I was buying parts from him back in the 90s for my first car, my little Nissan Sentra I mentioned. My buddy Brian was a parts guy at Nissan, and he bought this 91 Hardbody in 98. When I had the opportunity of buying it from him about 2 years ago, I took stewardship of the truck. We moved out to the country. It was going to be a ranch truck. So that's a little joke with my wife that it's not really a ranch truck. So the ranch truck just kind of evolved into me wanting to do a mini truck. So this hardbody just kind of started as, I'm just going to slam it. I love the fact that Belltech's a local company and they've been around for a long time, and I like my community. So I bought a lowering kit. I bought the drop spindles because I wanted to do it right. I just wanted it to ride well, So of course I still had to, crank down the torsion bars to get the right height I wanted. And I also was really excited that they did the actual, you guys do the leaf springs. So I did the lowering leaves, I did angled blocks in the back, and with a little tweaking from my buddies at Caliber Custom, it rides cherry.
So I'm Mikey from Caliber Customs. We got involved with Sean's Nissan Hardbody by surprise, almost like a actual email that came through that for momentarily, I didn't actually believe it was a real thing. A guy asking me to weld on a titanium muffler onto a Nissan Hardbody. I've seen plenty of the emails that come through. The guys not really sure what they're asking for or not what they really want. And it was something that I replied to everyone, make sure I give them all the credit. I replied through, and sure enough, he was really interested, and it was something that seemed like a really neat, fun project. We weren't really sure what we were expecting when we first got it. The truck came out and we were all impressed of the level of detail that he cared about and the level of perfection that he wanted out of this truck. It was something that we were really interested in, happy to be involved with the project. And once we got that beautiful exhaust done, it kind of started roller coastering of like, what's the next cool thing I could do? What's going to be really showstop and make it awesome? We kind of talked about a few different projects. Ended up that we built a full header for it that connected to the factory flanges, factory cats to keep kind of an OEM plus look to it. It was really fun to do and something that we're really proud of to be a part of, and the truck came out awesome.
I love that whole Nismo livery. So I wanted to go with a Nismo S-Tune, kind of like, it's a livery back from early 2000s that Nissan was putting on some of the R32s, R33s, R34s. So I'd never seen anybody do it on a hard body before. I'd seen some people do the stripes on the hood, which mine does have, but I really wanted to try and incorporate the whole like GTR pattern from the S-Tune on the side. They're stickers, yes, this is true, it's vinyl. But it was not easy to lay down. It was a big fat pain. I'm pretty happy with it. It came out pretty well. I did everything on the build that I could that didn't involve paint, because I just can't lay down paint. So that's really kind of what happened with the exterior. I really love the SSR wheels that I got. I had those refinished. Those are vintage from the 80s, 90s. So I really wanted to kind of be authentic to the Japanese tuner style, just kind of doing it a different way. But then I want to put my own twist on it. So the valence I have on it is a street scene valence. The first driveway I went down, I cracked that stupid thing, pulled it off. My buddy Gibson, we welded the plastic and reshot it, so it's been shot twice already. I also, on the outside, kept the titanium hardware thing going on. The bedliner was in really good shape, but just tweaked, just work from age. Kind of came up with the idea of, well, you know, what if I do rivnets underneath the bedliner and then titanium hardware. So JDC titanium, and then a Southern California company, Chasing Jays. So I used a combination of their hardware to lay down the bed liner so it wasn't warping anymore. And I thought it kind of also had this cool kind of like, you know, tuner look, and they're spaced pretty evenly. So I used that throughout the back of the bed. That came out pretty well. At the very back of the truck, I wanted to kind of keep the carbon fiber thing going on, so I saw this gentleman, Road Fab, who makes just kind of like NASCAR duckwing style spoilers. I wanted to make it a little bit different. I used strut rods to kind of make it cover that kind of tuner racer look and keep it stable, and then I wrapped it in 3M carbon fiber. Oh, along with that, I also covered the roof in the 3M carbon fiber look, because I just wanted to tie in. I had, you know, that dash that I used, the hydro dipping dash cover that I got that look, and it turned out pretty good. So I wanted to incorporate that into other places. The hardest part of the build for this, you know, I'm not a body and a paint guy, was what? Ian, what do you think the hardest part was?
We had to get the windshield removed.
We had to remove the windshield, yeah, right?
And there was a ton of rust.
So the windshield was cracked already. We were going to take it down. We got in there and we saw that the A-pillar just had all kinds of rust and stuff on it, right? I know, it was pretty bad. So I kind of freaked out. You actually did a little bit of the wood on the cab of the truck.
The sanding.
So Ian did a little bit of the sanding. Our good buddy Gibson came over and he laid down a sealer and a primer. And after that, I tried to repaint it, but it didn't quite work out. So we just decided to sand it back down, seal it, prime it, and then lay down the vinyl on top. And so we weren't really planning on doing the carbon fiber on the cab. It came out pretty cool.
Yeah.
Off topic, but we have another project we just got. This truck was Dad's project, but what did we just get that we're both gonna build?
Datsun 510.
Datsun 510. So this is our build for JCCS. That's our plan, right? Cool. JCCS 2024? 2024, for sure, dude. Right? Are we already storing parts and stuff away for it?
Yes.
Totally. Mom knows about most of them right now. Yeah, the really expensive ones she knows about. Yeah, that's all. Right? Yeah, that's true.